You look taller.
Rumor has it that Henry Cavill might join the MCU as the new Captain Britain. It's exciting to think about Cavill coming to the MCU, but is it the right time to add another Captain character? We already have Captain Marvel, Captain Carter, the old Captain America, the new Captain America, a few agent characters who are basically like Captain America, and now possibly Captain Britain. That's a lot of captains. But this captain, trust me, is different from all the other captains that are in the MCU. He is connected with the multiverse like no other captain. So who is Captain Britain, and what makes him so special? Captain Britain is a title used by various superheroes in Marvel Comics, often associated with Excalibur. The first to use the name was Brian Braddock, who debuted in Captain Britain #1 by writer Chris Claremont and artist Herb Trimpe. Currently, the title is held by Brian's twin sister, Betsy Braddock. The idea of Marvel's primary continuity being called Earth 616 comes from the Captain Britain stories by Dave Thorpe, Alan Davis, and Alan Moore. These stories also introduced the Captain Britain Corps, a group of heroes who protect their own versions of the British Isles across different dimensions, connected through the other world. Now, what's making him so special? Captain Britain wears many hats. He's the heroic protector of the United Kingdom, an omniversal guardian, the king of Otherworld, and the leader of Europe's top superhero team, Excalibur. Regardless of his role, he always stands up for his people and the Braddock family. Brian Braddock's birth was part of a carefully crafted plan. Decades ago, the omniversal guardian Merlyn sent his agent, James Braddock, to Earth 616, one of many Earths in the Omniverse, to father a champion capable of beating Necrom. James had 3 children, the studious Brian, his twin sister Elizabeth Betsy Braddock, aka Psylocke, and their older brother James Braddock Jr., aka Jamie Braddock. While home on break from his Thames University physics course, Brian Braddock leaves the house when the computer mastermind, built by his father, kills both of his parents, making it look like a lab accident. Brian, out on a date with Valerie Campbell at the time, feels overwhelmed with guilt, believing he might have saved them if he had been there. Throwing himself into his work, he takes a summer job at the Darkmoor Nuclear Research Complex. When the facility is attacked by Joshua Strag, aka Reaver, Brian flees on a motorcycle to get help, but is forced over a cliff by his pursuers. As he is dying, he has a vision of Merlyn and the Lady of the Northern Skies, aka Roma, above a ring of standing stones, offering him a choice between the Sword of Might and the Amulet of Right. Concluding that he was no warrior, Brian chooses the latter and is transformed into Captain Britain. The new hero defeats the Reaver, who had also been transformed by Merlyn's foes, the Nether Gods, after grabbing the sword. Shortly after, Brian makes his public debut as Captain Britain, fighting the crime lord Vixen's minions in London. Not everyone is pleased to see him, including Scotland Yard's Chief Inspector, Day Thomas. He goes on to battle other foes like Albert Potter, aka Hurricane, another Nether God-empowered enemy, Christopher Thorne, aka Dr. Sin, and Mastermind, who eventually confesses to his role in Brian's parents' deaths. Now let's talk about his powers. Many assume Brian Braddock, aka Captain Britain, is just a British version of Captain Steve Rogers. However, that's far from true. Captain Britain has a completely unique origin story that sets him apart, unlike Captain America. His powers also make him stand out among Marvel heroes. The evolution of Captain Britain's abilities is as fascinating as the powers themselves. Over the years, his powers have manifested in various forms from different sources. With growing excitement about Captain Britain possibly hitting the big screen, let's explore his top powers and abilities that have cemented him as one of Marvel's most remarkable heroes. First is inherent versus external power. When Merlyn first bestowed Brian Braddock with the powers of Captain Britain, they came from the Amulet of Right and a star scepter that granted him flight. Later on, these powers became integrated into his costume. After experiencing further transformative journeys, Captain Britain's abilities were finally internalized, linked to his confidence rather than external tools. Ultimately, it became logical to make Captain Britain's power innate rather than reliant on external equipment or his suit. This change made him more formidable, freeing him from dependence on these items, which became more like backup batteries than primary sources of power. While not a traditional superpower, having his abilities intrinsic to him significantly enhanced Captain Britain's prowess as a hero. Next is his genius intelligence. Brian Braddock's always been sharp, a trait he inherited from his brainy family, especially his dad. Even before he became Captain Britain, he stood out for his smarts. Studying physics at Thames University in London, he honed the mind under Dr. Travis at the Darkmoor Energy Research Centre. His intelligence isn't your typical superpower, but it's what sets him apart and makes him a top-notch superhero. Unlike his other abilities, it's something that can't be stripped away, except for those times when he lets alcohol mess with his head. Up next is superhuman agility. When Merlyn transformed Braddock into Captain Britain, he gained a range of physical upgrades. One notable enhancement was his agility, which skyrocketed, making him exceptionally graceful and adept in combat. Enhanced agility might not be the most glamorous superpower, but it's certainly something you'd notice if it were ever taken away from him. Another one is superhuman stamina. Overall, Brian Braddock underwent a profound transformation into a vastly stronger and more physically enhanced being when he became Captain Britain. Similar to his American counterpart, Steve Rogers, his superhuman stamina enables him to be combat-ready at any moment. His heightened stamina not only allows him to do this all day, but it also fuels his increased speed and strength. While it's not the flashiest superpower, it's undeniably one of the most crucial. This brings us to his enhanced reflexes and senses. Braddock's powers enhance virtually every aspect of him, from physical strength and capabilities to his reflexes and senses. These enhanced reflexes and heightened senses draw comparisons to heroes like Captain America and Spider-Man in terms of their agility and sensory prowess. What truly distinguishes Braddock is his unique connection to the surrounding energy. He can harness this energy to further boost his reflexes and sharpen his senses, particularly his sight and hearing. It's not a power commonly associated with Captain Britain, but it grants him an additional advantage that most of his adversaries lack. Well, that's it for today. What do you think makes Captain Britain the most unique superhero? Is it his connection to interdimensional energy, his diverse array of powers, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more exciting updates from the world of superheroes. We'll see you next time with more thrilling insights. Until then, take care and keep exploring the multiverse.